afternoon. How is everyone doing? Now, listen here. I was sitting there talking to my mama, and this word just hit on me. And I said, "Wait a minute, Mom, I got to call you back. What's going on?" I said, "Ooh, I got a fire word." Uh, so what we're going to talk about? Who do you believe? We're going to be in Second Kings, chapter 7. And what God was sharing with me is that many of us we doubting what God has told us. We are going to a point that we are allowing our unbelief to manifest in such a way that it will cause us to miss the provision of God. So you got to understand if God had told you anything and it's outside of your will, outside of anything that you heard about or you thought about it, just believe it. Because here, if we go into Second Kings, we're going to see that unbelief often hinders the promise that God has already given to us. Second Kings chapter 7 states, Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, at the gate of Samaria. So an officer whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, Look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could this thing be? And he said, In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat it. Watch this. When God has spoken something into your hearing, when a valid prophetic person has spoken some into your hearing, the first thing that you don't want to do is doubt the word of God. See, in this particular place, uh, it was a severe famine. Okay, severe famine, and what God did, He allowed Elisha to prepare them for what's about to happen. But as we see, he named the price and the amount. See, a lot of you, the reason God can't tell you what you're going to get and a abundance of what you need to have is because you don't believe what people been telling you thus far. So for a lot of us, we got to play the waiting game to see what God gonna give us. But just in case we in the waiting game, we doubting that God is going to do it. So when Elisha, when he prophesied this Lord, he prophesied the word of the Lord, at that time the king of Israel, he blamed God for the calamity that had come upon Israel and Samaria. See, watch this. Even when you going through, ain't it good to know that God still got a good word for you? The problem is you are not consistent in God. See, a lot of y'all will take all the good words, but you don't want no correction. You don't want no rebuke. You don't want nobody to tell you wrong. You want what you want. So the next thing we see, Elijah gave them a time limit. He said tomorrow about this time. See, some of you, God is ready to bless now. But guess what? The same people you won't let go is the ones that blocking your blessings. Why are they blocking the blessings? Because an officer on whom the king leaned answered the man of God. You got other people answering what God telling you. That's why I say it's dangerous to go and try to get advice from other people about other people. I had this done. Y'all remember that boy who used to be on my page? What's his name? Old James. Yeah, that old heathen. See, he was dating this guy, married this girl that was in ministry, and all of them used to be on my page. But I said something. I don't know. I don't remember what I said. But the wife took offense to it, and so listen here. The worst thing you can do with a man like me is to come to me like you're a man, but you're a cow. So he gonna come to me, hey, my wife, my wife said you talking about her. He said, are you talking about my wife? I never responded. He came the next day. Well, hey, uh, my wife offended by what you said. In my head, then, okay, had never responded. Now, people that we know go to call him, and one of them, he called me. He said, "Hey, man, James called around here talking about you," and he said, "You know what I told him?" I said, well, I said, I said, man, when you didn't have nowhere to go, didn't that man get you in your house? He said, "Hey, didn't that man feed you? Didn't that man put money in your pocket when you had to go somewhere else?" He said, "Why would that man talk about your wife?" Then he go ask somebody else down here in Orlando and this fool, well, yeah, this was going on with him. You don't even know me. What is that? Derek Jenkins Gackin, Derek Gaskin or something. And now you coming back trying to tell me about me to somebody who don't even know me. But the other people put things in perspective. If this man did so much for you, why would this man sit there and say something to your wife? Evidently, your wife got convicted of what I said. If he happened to listen now, I wouldn't respond. And the reason I wouldn't respond, you didn't know me more than you to know knew that woman. So you should have had enough to me to know I don't just do anything to anybody on purpose. Now, if you can get convicted, I ain't even apologize because she felt convicted. See, y'all got to watch people who claim to have a relationship with God and they giving you information that's not of God. So here we see because the officer, as we can see, he had a good connection with the king allowed him to speak what he was thinking. See, y'all got to watch people who speak for other people. One thing I hate is a person who can't stand up for themselves. Listen here, I don't ask no anybody in my life. I don't care what they say about you. I don't care what I see about you. I don't I don't judge you on your actions. I judge you by what that man upstairs tell me. Because it was like some of y'all. And to some standard, I might be doing the same thing some of y'all doing for all y'all know. But what I'm trying to tell you to see, no man after the flesh. See, what you got to understand, when you come into the knowledge of God, I can't see you how I see you. I got to see you spiritually at all times because if I see you in the flesh, I respond in the flesh. If I respond in the flesh, I respond wrong. So here, watch this. The officer put doubt in the king. See, that's why a lot of y'all is you saying you doing what God telling you to do it. You doing what God telling you to do. You say you going where God telling you to go, but watch that. You doubting the process. See, he said, look, if the Lord would make wonders in heaven, that's doubt. See, the first thing he did, he doubted the power of God. The second thing he did, he doubted the creativity of God. The third thing he did, he doubted the messenger of God. Mm, 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 mm. Watch this. So what happened, he illustrated a conduct of unbelief. See, if I tell you something, put money on it. Because I don't say God says haphazardly. I don't say the Holy Spirit told me haphazardly. I don't say nothing that get me in trouble with God. See, watch this. So what's the conduct of unbelief a lot of y'all carrying in? You question the truthfulness of God's promise. If God, watch this, if God tell me right now to move to Mexico, I'm not going to question where I'm going to stay, where I'm going to work, what I got to do. I'm going to go. Why? Because God's provision is in the obedience of the promise. I want you to go here. See, a lot of y'all in unbelief because you trying to work things out that God already done worked out. Can I tell y'all from being a veteran spiritual vagabond? Y'all know what a vagabond is, don't you? That's what I consider myself because I was moving so much. You do know everywhere I went, I had poor credit, I had limited income, and boy, I was broke. But everywhere I went, when I got to the place, instructions that he instructed me to go to, my provision was already there. I need you to move to Atlanta. But watch all my friends. See, I'm used to pay. I'm in the hood now. I'm used to paying $200 and $300 in rent. In Atlanta, you paying 800, 9,000 easy. Back then, it went up now. Boy, you can't afford to go there, this and that. I was sitting in my car, and the Holy Spirit said, if you got to doubt, I want you to go, don't even go. The next day, I got a call from my friend Veronica. She a nurse. She's still in Atlanta somewhere. We done lost contact over the years. She said, hey, I'm finna move to New York. Come over here. Do you still want to move to Atlanta? Is what she said. I said, yeah. She said, well, come on and take over my lease. She said, just pay the rent and the utilities. Now, live there. Now, once I paid the rent and the internet, my stomach was touching my back. I ain't have no money for nothing else. I ain't had nothing. I remember calling Veronica one time, so Veronica on me in the body. I said, I'm so hungry. Can you buy me something to eat? She got me a pack of loaf of bread, some bologna, some cereal, and some milk. I need you to move to Omaha. No, he said, I need you to go to Tallahassee. I don't know about in Tallahassee. I pack up and go to Tallahassee. That's when my friend Woody came all the way from Omaha, Nebraska to uh, Lithonia, Georgia. That's where I'm staying at. Drove me to Tallahassee, Florida. We were staying in extended stay down there on he's down there somewhere. I can't think of the name of it. Uh, and he said, I need you to find a building to have ministry in. You know what I started doing? I'm looking for a place to stay because I know I got to go here. Listen here, I'm going to the homeless shelters and everything. I'm going into the projects and everything. I'm looking and I can't get nothing. I'm on the computer looking for a place to stay. Holy Spirit said, we told you, you're not going to find nowhere to stay unless you get a building for ministry. I already had the building. I didn't want to pay him because I needed somewhere to stay. When I heard that, I picked up the phone. I said, hey, I want to go ahead and rent the building. Meet me down there. I paid the man. Me and Woody come back. Uh, y'all remember my buddy Mo? A lot of y'all remember Mo. I used to be up there all the time. He owned a barbecue. He had a barbecue truck up there on Capitol Circle. I sat at the truck. I guess it was unusual for a black man and a white man to be together. He said, what y'all doing? I said, man, I got to start a ministry. He said, you do? He asked me a couple of questions. I said, yeah, I'm just trying to find a place to stay. He said, you don't have a place to stay? I said, no. He said, you can come stay with me and my wife. We'll just split the bill. Notice, I had to be obedient before I got the provisions. Year later, Woody said, come on up to Omaha, do a conference for me. I go up to Omaha. I'm up there. I'm thinking I'm up there for 3 days. I looked around. I said, boy, this is a nice city. I wish I could stay here. Woody said, you want to stay here? I said, man, yeah, I'll stay here. The last day he came and got me at the hotel, drove me around. I can't think of the name of the street. I probably got pictures on my page. Y'all remember when I stayed in Omaha? He, he, he went around now. Uh, he said, this a place here. I said, man, I said, my credit ain't good. I ain't got no money. Would have paid the first month, the last month, the deposit, bought me furniture, put food in things, had me the keys. Did you pay your bills? You don't keep doubting God. Now, watch this. It had a little, I had a little unbelief, but my little unbelief didn't overtake what I heard God say. So everywhere I went, I didn't get the provisions needed till I went to where he told me to go. Watch this. And oftentimes, as you can see, sometimes it's planned, sometimes was spontaneous, and one time I didn't even know. You see, ornament, I played still. I stayed in Florence, South Carolina, Charlotte, Mobile, Tennessee, Clarksdale, Mississippi. Man, I've been around here all because God said go. So what happens with unbelief? He said, in fact, this is Elijah speaking. He said, you shall see it, but you shall not eat of it. See, the problem is some of y'all gonna have so much unbelief before you do what God say that you're gonna see your blessing, but you ain't gonna be able to touch it because you got more unbelief built up in you than obedience. See, that I'm telling you what unbelief do. Unbelief said this is a new thing that can't be true. Unbelief said this is sudden. This can't be true. Unbelief said, this ain't gonna work out. Unbelief said, well, I don't see God doing this. Unbelief said, well, I know God said, but it ain't gonna be enough. See, those are about 6 or 7 things I spoke about unbelief, which means you building up a pattern. And when you build up a pattern, that's when, in fact, you shall see it, but you shall not eat it. That was a harsh judgment, all right? To see the word fulfilled, but not benefit from it. See, some of you are so close to what God wants you to have, but you stacking unbelief on top of unbelief. You stacking doubt on top of doubt. Unbelief, doubt. Unbelief, and basically the same thing, but in your mind, you think they different. You know what's wrong with a lot of us? Our outward riches cannot conceal our inner poverty. See, too many of you, you got all that your heart can wish for, but you don't have what your heart desires. There's a difference. Desire only comes to complete obedience and selling out to God. I know what I said earlier was harsh, but sometimes y'all need a harsh word. Because if you look at anything in your life and if you say if this if if I lose this, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I don't know how to make it, that means you don't believe in God. Well, you don't have enough belief in God. Ain't nothing in this world that if I lose it, go compare to who God is. If I lose this job, how am I make it? If I lose this house, how am I make it? See, I learned something on that bench. All I wanted was a house to get out of. It was raining that day. I was up under a little shed. You know, it was a little 7 feet bush, and the census was on the other side. He was tearing them up too. I heard it, but I ain't finna look at it. And, and that's what vexed my spirit. And that's when I said, God, I wish I had a house to get out of this weather. And when he said, look up, don't you see them stars? You at home? I had to hush my mouth. So I'm still alive. I got the gaze over there, you know, because the park that I had to, that I slept in that night, I knew it was a gay park, but it had lights on it, so I felt more safer around lights than just complete darkness. And boy, they were going at it. I said, "Oh, nasty dogs." But watch this. So anything that we have in our life, if we think our life gonna stop, if we think we ain't gonna make it, if we think that God can't provide for us, then we ain't where we need to be. See, one thing, I'm gonna get back into it. One thing when you go into God's rest, when you in God's rest, that means you can't believe on nobody but God. That's why a lot of you are in a turmoil now. It's because you say you love God, but God is seeing that you believe it on something else more than some of you believing on you. Please, wife, don't leave me. Please, husband, don't go nowhere. Please, job, don't fire me. Please, God, I need a job. See, um, let's go on. Y'all ain't ready for that. You know, I ain't ready. Now, there were four leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said to one another, why are we sitting here until we die? If we say, boy, I love this scripture here. Boy, there's so much in there. If we say we enter into the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now, therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall only die. And they rose at twilight to go to the camp of the Syrians. And when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise, no one was there. Well, if I was in a Baptist church and I'm teaching, now I come to a subtitle called "When Death Enters My Heart." Yeah, yeah. When death enters my heart. See, verse 3 to 5. If you notice, it was talking about moving. When you are able to move in spite, watch this, or where you're going, what you see, and death, then you ready to receive God's blessing. Let's break it down. For a leprous man. See, they were lepers at the entrance of the gate. They couldn't go in because they were lepers. When you had leprosy, they put you outside the gate. That means you didn't deal with nobody. And see, a lot of y'all don't deal with nobody. The reason you don't deal with nobody because they deem you leprous. Don't listen to Brother Hubbard. He talking about don't tithe. Don't listen to Brother Hubbard. He talking about them 5 love language books. Don't listen to Brother Hubbard because all he do is talk about him. They never say nothing positive. I just don't say it to you. Don't listen to Brother Hubbard. He always talking about somebody. I'm a leper. I don't mind being a leper. That means people leave me alone. So the lepers said one to another. See, watch this. You got to find the people who's speaking what you are speaking. You got to find the people who's saying what God's Spirit is saying. You got to be connected to people in the same condition, mindset, and want to go the same way as you. They said, why are we sitting here? What does that mean? Until we die. Some of y'all ain't moving because you want God to prove himself, but before you prove it. Yeah, that's what's going on. And so while you just sitting there, like you in the faith of God, but you just sitting there because you want God to move first, you're gonna be sitting there for a long time. Listen here. Can I be honest with y'all? I'm just gonna say this because most of the people that been around, God had already spoken to their spirit. Listen here, I stay in Atlanta. If God tell me tomorrow you need to move to Texas, guess where I'm going? Why sit here and die? Guess where I'm going? Because see, a lot of us die because we don't want to do what it takes to have life. We don't want to do it. We want to stay angry. We want to stay in bondage. Some of y'all in Stockholm syndrome. Some of y'all say you're single, but you're married. You're married to everything but God. Because see, if that statement I just made offended anybody, guess what? That lets you know you ain't in the spirit. Think it not strange why I said that little girl I seen said she moved from North Carolina to Texas because for the past 3 or 4 years. Because we'll watch stuff. I just don't say that. But I'm gonna say it now. Do you know how many prophetic people have moved to certain parts of Texas? Ain't never 3 states they going in. I mean, yeah, three cities they going in. Ancient Business was three, but it's 3 cities they going in. Yeah, watch this. Texas got big land on it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So what God is speaking to prophetic people, that's why I admire that woman. She picked up all she had and left. See, watch this. Some of y'all can only thrive in a city that you're comfortable with. But did I not mention every time God told me to move, every time He told me to start a ministry, I always had a building through the grace of God. It was in the middle of the city in a high traffic area. Did I not tell you? I knew that man I rented that building from in Tallahassee was greedy. but I know my Lord. He came to me about a month into it. He said, "Hey, I've been praying because I was giving him about 450 a month." He said, "God told me to tell you just give me 200." He didn't know that what he's supposed to charge me. But my obedience said, "Give it to him." See, a lot of things I do for people knowing they doing me wrong. That's all I say about my truck. I had to fix my truck. I done put a motor in the truck. I done put a transmission in the truck. I done put a rear end in the truck. I done put cylinders in the truck. I put a timer. So when somebody tell me something, especially with lawn equipment, I know how to fix lawn equipment, but I'm so big, fat, and lazy. I said it because I am. I go pay people to do what I know how to do. But watch this. It's a business. You know what it costs? If they charge me too much, I pay them and never come back. But if they charge me what's fair, I pay them and come back. I know how to change the oil in my truck. I'm just too lazy to go buy a creeper and go under there and screw it down, let it drain, screw it back in there, put them 5 quarts of oil in it, reset my odometer, and it's fine. I'm around here paying people. Well, when I was in Tallahassee, all I paid him was $20. But people charging upwards over $100 for oil. Well, based on my truck, I'm gonna spend, depending on what oil I got, I'm gonna have to spend $40 to $50 on oil. I can do it myself in 10 minutes. I'm just lazy. So watch this. A lot of you are dying, but think you prosper. You think because you got a little good marriage, you happy, you think you got your little job, your little business, y'all making that money, you dying. See, some of you dying because you don't want to change. That's why the church died. They don't want to change. God is raising up new people to say new things, but because the old people want all the money, want all the recognition, they silencing the prophetic voices for this season. So what God has to do to them? He got to send them on TikTok. He got to send them on Instagram. He got to send them on Facebook. He got to send them on their own website. Because if you listen to any of them that I may share, they saying the same thing I've been saying, but some of them got more information than God me because we prophesy in parts. See, I might have the beginning, somebody might have the middle, somebody might have the end. I might have the middle and the beginning, somebody got the end. I might have the beginning and the end, somebody got the middle. That's why I'm always spiritually aware of everything going on. Because just in case ain't nobody saying nothing right how God said, I live my life prophetically. So when a prophetic event happens that catches my spirit, I'm going to look at it and observe it. God, what you trying to say to me? So here, he said, we go in the city, the famine is in the city, and we should die there. See, watch this. These are people who ain't got nothing to lose. See, if you worried about what you losing, then you ain't dead yet. That's what we getting at. They were walking dead, but mentally they was alive because they came to themselves. Okay, ain't nobody gonna feed us. Ain't nobody gonna take care of because we lepers. Don't no one want to be around us anyway. But so look here. I'm already dead. I don't supposed to be around nobody. It ain't even in the heat. He said, I'd rather move and go see can I pick scraps than to stand still and die. So here they said, if we go in the famine still in that city, we'll die there. But watch this. Don't you dare die when it's moving still in your body. Y'all ever seen the movie Walking Dead? That's how some of you are. You so rigid in your pattern, in your thinking, in your understanding, in your way of life, that when God tried to introduce change, you know what you do? You put your shield up. That ain't God. God won't tell me to do that. God ain't saying that. God ain't saying that. Sit there and die then. So they came to a conclusion. No matter where I move, what I do, death is all around me. But what I ain't gonna do, I'm not going to die doing nothing. See, some of your ministry dead because you scared won't nobody accept you. Some of your relationships dead because you scared that you're gonna lose them. Some of your relationship with God dead because you don't know how to embrace change. Listen here, your family dead because you don't know how to understand when it's time for them to go. They got to go. So some of you carrying dead weight. So you dying because you staying put with a backpack on instead of taking off that weight. God, let me go see what all I got. See, had God not moved me from Birmingham, I would be dead. Not, well, maybe physically dead because of things I was doing. I don't know. But I know I'd be spiritually dead. I wouldn't have met some of you now. You know why? Because my ministry was called to move. I can't sit still if I want to. Not if God said, go do this. And watch this. A lot of times, I don't even know where I'm going, or where I'm going for. I had no intentions of ending up going down to a Birmingham. But when I left out that office, I was kind of steamed. He said, go. Well, I'm going to, I ain't got no clothes, no deodorant. See, watch this. But I know God's voice when He tell you to go somewhere, you go. So, I went and got me some new digs this morning, because boy, I was right. I said, woo! Y'all like that new Reebok shirt? It's soft too. And guess what? I go in there and buy the clothes. I'm just looking at the prices. 17, 18, this and that. But watch this. When I go ring it up, 5, $10. See, when you move how God wants you to move, He have provisions already aligned because you're obedient. So watch this. He said, let go on the famine. Let me go scrounge for some food because if I don't find none, I'm gonna die anyway, but I ain't finna just die here. Watch this. He said, now, he said, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live, and they kill us, we shall only die. See, when dying becomes a way of life, you ready for listen here, you ready for a relationship with Christ. He said, I'd rather go to my enemies. At least my enemies will keep me alive. He said, but if they kill us, it ain't never death. It ain't never death. So here we have poor, afflicted people, watch this, who had nothing to lose. Now, I'm going to throw this in the game because it's going with who you believe. Now, the Jewish tradition say this was Gehazi and his 3 sons. And Gehazi got leprosy of his greed toward Naaman. over in 2 Kings 5:27. So they say this was Gehazi. That's what they say. I don't know. But watch this. But here, if it was for the sake of this revelation, okay, greed got them punished. They wanted to be rich in life and got cursed in life. Now, when God took away the riches, now all they care about is death. See, when you get to a point in your life, like I be trying to tell you, clothes don't mean nothing to me, money don't mean nothing to me, family don't mean nothing to me. He means something to me. Man, listen here. When that Joey gonna tell me, Mama said, I'ma just use my backpack from last year for 9 years. Every year, Joey got a new backpack. Why all of a sudden he got to reuse something that I sent by the grace of God? He said, send them the money. I was gonna buy and ship it. Boy, when I tell y'all I got blood red, she don't even know. God wanted him to have that backpack. I looked at it for 2 months. And it was a black one. It got sold out before God ever told me. He said, ask him, do he like it? He gonna like it. Send him the money. See, what I'm trying to tell y'all, sometimes God does things to bring you closer to him. But when you ain't got no relationship with God and greed set in, with your own understanding set in, what you want to do set in, that prevents you from accessing the blessing of God. You listen here. Y'all have heard me tell the story. People will find my website. Hey, are you a minister? Yeah. Uh, 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 uh. Well, I need such and such. If God said give it to them, give it to them. If God said don't give them that, they don't get nothing. Y'all got to be careful, not knowing how God operates through somebody, whether instructions, obedience, or the giving of gift. Or watch this. See, you don't know sometimes why God may tell certain people to give. It's because most people don't know who connected to somebody else. See, when you become a conduit for the kingdom of God, God don't haphazardly allow you to do things just to just to make you mad, just to make you hungry, just to miss. Listen here, this God stuff for real. So here, that logic was perfect. He said, why I'ma sit here and die? Now watch this. Some of y'all sitting in situation knowing it's killing you, but you won't even move. You in jobs killing you, you won't even move. You around people tearing you up, you won't even move. And you know what the strange thing about it? You know you need to move, but you rather sit there and die than to move in the spirit of God.